You're probably here because you either have no idea what UX is and want to learn more, or you want to break into the industry and have simply no idea where to start. Don't worry, I was exactly where you are 3 years ago. Fast forward to today, and I've had the opportunities to work with multiple Fortune 500 companies in spaces such as financial technology, consumer technology, as well as building cutting-edge AI tools. With this video, I want to summarize and streamline what the process of breaking into UX looks like, as well as highlighting some key steps you need to take to ensure professional success within this field. Let's get right into it. Step number 1, understand what UX is and ask yourself if it is really for you.
So, what is UX? That is the first question we need to answer. UX is a field that encompasses a lot of different disciplines, but the core goal is to create meaningful, relevant, and delightful experiences for users. Now, I know this sounds pretty lofty, but to narrow it down a little bit, UX designers work specifically in creating new and improving current digital products in the world we live in. Think about anything we interact with behind a screen or an interface: an app, a website, a display inside a car, a kiosk at a grocery store, a vending machine, a display for a printer, and so many more things. UX designers work on it all, with the goal of creating innovative designs and making a positive impact on the end user. So, in other words, we talk to people, we figure out how we can help them, and then we use that knowledge to work within services, products, and technology to create beautiful, functional, and efficient user experiences. So on a daily basis, as a UXer, you have the opportunity to wear many hats. As a designer, a researcher, an analyst, and a strategist. It all really depends on where you work and what the context of your role is. UX designers generally work in very collaborative environments with other designers, UX researchers, content designers, product managers, software developers, and other stakeholders on varying levels. As a UXer, you are the epicenter of developing collaborative innovation. Now, another key thing to note is that there are two terms that are thrown around a lot: UX and UI. These are not the same. UX is user experience and UI stands for user interface. A better way to put this is that UX is the larger umbrella terms under which UI falls. So, to explain it a little bit more, UX refers to the development of the entire experience. Now, UX designers will develop interfaces, but they will also design information architecture, they will conduct testing and iteration, and they're going to build flows and other forms of analysis to create the best possible experience for users. User interface or UI design, on the other hand, falls within those responsibilities. So if you choose to focus on purely UI/visual design, you're going to be looking more at the aesthetics and the interactivity of a certain product rather than a more holistic set of responsibilities. So a big question that you should start thinking about is UX really for me? Now, this is not something you need to have the answer for right now, obviously, since you're just getting into the field. Get deeper and understand the different aspects, theory, and fundamentals as you continue to think about this. However, it is also important to realize that UX is a competitive field with a lot of complex nuances and specialties. You need to make sure that you're getting into UX design for the love of creating impactful innovation and solving problems using design. Passion should be your main driver in this space. Otherwise, it will become very hard to succeed.
Step 2, learn the basic fundamentals of UX.
The next thing you need to focus on is actually learning how to do UX. Thankfully, there is something called the UX process, and as the name suggests, this process outlines the general order of steps a UX designer takes to create solutions from start to end. The UX process is also tied to a more large-scale method of design thinking called the double diamond, so it is also beneficial for you to learn about the double diamond method. Now, on the note of the UX process itself, while going through the details will be too much for this video, here are the steps from an overview perspective. Step 1 is to discover and define. Step 2 is research and synthesize. Step 3 and 4 are almost interchangeable with each other and almost continue in this cyclical format, which is testing and evaluative research and designing and actually prototyping experiences. Step 5 is finalizing those designs based on the data gathered from evaluative research, and step 6 is development and build handoff to the appropriate stakeholders. It is of huge importance to actually learn this process and what it entails. Keep in mind that in the industry, there isn't one set process to do things normally, but this layout will give you a pretty solid idea of some of the potential responsibilities and tasks UX designers get to undertake. Another important aspect of UX design and of the UX industry in general is to learn the tools of the trade. The most common industry standard software for UX currently is Figma and FigJam. There are also other whiteboard tools such as Miro and general design software such as the Adobe Suite that can be helpful. As you learn the UX process, it is essential to dive into the software associated with it as well. Once you have an understanding of each of these steps and practical knowledge of the same, you can really start thinking about what you like, if you want to focus on a specific area or be a generalist. And most of all, continue to answer the question, is UX really for me?
Step number 3, create your first UX project.
At this point, you should have a decent understanding of the theoretical tasks and aspects of UX. Now, at this point, if you still want to do UX and think it's the right fit, the next step is to dive into creating your first UX project. And really, something that needs to be reiterated is practice makes perfect, and with UX, this couldn't be more true. Once we have our fundamentals of the UX process down, we want to start creating our own DIY projects. This basically means that we're going to go through each step of the process, but with a problem space that you are passionate about or interested in. And while it is important to choose problem spaces that you are interested in, it is also important that you make sure that you are choosing something that is relevant in today's world. We want to make sure that our projects create interest within design managers and recruiters, as well as be impactful for the present and the future. A good UX project will combine all three of those things: your passion and interests, relevance for today's world, and how it innovates for a better future. Once you're done with your first project, keep going. As I said, practice makes perfect. The more you do UX, the more you're going to understand what you enjoy doing and what works best for you when it comes to approaching the different parts of a UX project. It is always good to collaborate with people on projects as well. As I mentioned earlier, UX designers almost never work in a vacuum, so having collaborative experience on your projects will definitely add value to the overall experience. So don't hesitate to reach out to form teams with your peers.
So, let me tell you something important about hiring teams. They really want to see your projects and how you worked with cross-functional teams. That's a big deal, right? That's exactly why at UXGO we team up with awesome clients like Tempo, a famous startup backed by the Y-Combinator delving into AI. Imagine working on a project for 10 weeks. In our UXGO advanced class, it's like getting the kind of experience you would get at a big tech internship. It's all about what you do in the day-to-day in UX design. Now, really think about it. When you add these kinds of projects to your resume and portfolio and then talk about them in your interviews, you're going to be a magnet for job offers. Learning UX isn't like coding, where you can just hunker down and do it solo. It's really about getting your hands dirty and getting some real-world work experience. So, if you're really serious about diving into the UX industry, look for opportunities like ours. We keep things cozy. Only 10 spots per cohort so that every student can get our coaches' undivided attention. Interested? Awesome. Check out the link in the video description below to apply, and we cannot wait to see you soon. Step 4. Build your UX portfolio and your UX-focused resume.
Now that we have actual UX work ready, a really important part of branching out into the industry is possessing the ability to present your work and your relevant experiences in an impactful and effective manner. So once you have some projects ready, the next step is to get your portfolio and resume together. Most people are familiar with what a resume is. So let's talk first about UX portfolios. A portfolio is essentially a document or website that contains a collection of your work, as well as telling the audience the story of who you are and why you're a good person to be hired. Portfolios can come in different forms, but the most common form of portfolio for UX designers is a website, since they offer the most flexibility when it comes to formatting your work and telling your story. A portfolio can contain up to 4 to 5 UX projects alongside information about yourself and other personalized additions. The process of building a portfolio is a long and intensive one, but one that is essential to get that dream role. You don't need to know code as a designer to build a website portfolio. You can use free no-code web tools such as Webflow, EditorX, Squarespace, and Wix to name a few. Now, the resume is a fairly standard practice, but an extremely important one. You want to be able to highlight your design prowess and relevant experiences. One really important thing is to be able to showcase and prove the effectiveness of your designs using data and metrics. Being able to showcase concrete positive impact caused by your work can be of huge value when it comes to a UX resume. Now, UX portfolios and resumes are both really vast topics. too vast to be covered in one video. So if you want to know more, I would encourage you to do more independent research on your own end, but also to check out some of UXGo's free resources on these topics. I will touch on these resources later in the video as well. The point of this video and the outline of these steps is to really get you in the right mindset and to give you an idea of the things that need to get done. So get started sooner rather than later.
Step 5. Expand your UX network and find your focus.
The final step of the process, but definitely a very important one, is building and expanding your network within the sphere of design. As designers, we hear the word networking a lot. However, there is a lot of truth to how beneficial this practice is. Expanding your circle of designers can be immensely beneficial to your knowledge and prowess within design. First, you get the opportunity to get feedback on your materials from professionals within the field. This can be really helpful when it comes to improving your portfolio and resume, as well as giving you more insight when it comes to applying for specific roles at specific companies. Second, you are able to understand the different experiences that UXers have in their respective positions. This can be key to helping you figure out what role and company might or might not be a good fit for you as you start thinking about where you want to apply. And finally, having professional connections at companies that you might want to work for can put you on the fast track for success and landing an interview by the means of referrals and recommendations. So the question now comes about, how do I go about building a network? There's a few ways you can start. LinkedIn is definitely your friend in this situation, with millions of UX professionals on the platform sharing their perspectives on a daily basis. UXGO and ADP List are good mentorship-oriented platforms as well. Don't hesitate to reach out to people on these platforms to try and build relationships and connections. Another good way of going about networking is by attending online and in-person design events. Attending events can be really helpful when it comes to meeting people directly to avoid the awkward cold message and get networking in real time instead.
And the last step, how UXGO can help.
UXGO is the #1 member-driven career platform for UX career development. Everyone is different, and we have a unique, personalized learning system focused on giving one-on-one guidance to cater to student-specific needs. I've talked about a lot of things in this video, and UXGO can help you excel at every one of these things. We have a ton of free resources that you can go look at right now that will help teach you the fundamentals of UX, kickstart your portfolio and resume, and give you a full breakdown of how to approach your first DIY UX project. So go check out the website at uxgo.com to learn more. Trust me, once you go, you won't look back. If you're looking for more in-depth one-on-one guidance, UXGO offers you more direct support straight from fan coaches as you need it. So check out the website for more info, and we hope to see you on our Slack server soon.